Hey, my name is Christopher White, and I'm going to speak to you today about creating your own instructional and informative videos for your organization. Now, many organizations find videos useful when training new or existing employees on programs, systems, or business protocol. The videos are useful because they allow the viewer to learn the information at their own pace and discretion. If something's not understood, the viewer can rewind, pause, and play segments as much as needed. So in this presentation, I'm going to talk to you about what kind of equipment and software is best to use in production of the videos. Also, I'll give some suggestions concerning structuring and presentation of the information. So here we go. We're going to break this down into three sections. That's planning, production, and editing and presentation. Here we go. First section. Planning. Before you pick up a camera, grab a pen. A video is just another medium for presentation delivery. While it is vital that you present your information in an effective and comprehensive manner, you need to ensure that you have really nailed down the information that you're presenting. In other words, before you start to worry about how you'll present, fully understand what you are presenting. Take this presentation for example. Before I sat in front of this camera, I carefully laid out what I would say, when I would say it, and how I would phrase it. Okay? Remember, your goal is to communicate a point to your audience. You want to make sure you do so in the strongest and most organized manner possible. Have a plan. The quickest way to lose your audience's attention is to have someone rambling about a topic with no clear path as to where the speaker is going with the information. Dividing the information into segments will help maintain your organization when filming and editing your video. After you prepare the information, plan the technical aspect of your video. Filming on any scale is more successful and less stressful when there is a plan in the works. Ask yourself the following questions. Number one, how long will this segment last? Decide before how long you want to spend on each segment of your presentation. This doesn't mean you have to select a small amount of time to cram the information into, but you also want to make sure the segment isn't long and drawn out. My suggestion, do a read-through/rehearsal. Take the information and practice speaking it out aloud. Speak at the pace you're most comfortable with. Say all that you want to say during this time. For the rehearsal, it doesn't matter how long you speak. This is just so you can review the clip. When you're done watching your rehearsal clip, you're going to have checked for things, certain things that you would not want in your video. This is what we call the meat and the potatoes. But not really. Now we're going to talk about production. Now that you plan your video presentation out, it's time that you produce it. This is what some would say is the most fun part. When producing a video, quality is important. Viewers will pay closer attention to a video if the production appears as if effort was applied. The quality of a video sends a message to viewers. It says, I spent time and effort in producing this, so the information is valuable. Or, we put together this thing in spare time and it's kind of important, I guess. This doesn't mean your video has to be Academy Award worthy in order to be effective. It means that, as with any type of presentation, you show that you care about what it looks and sounds. Here are some steps to ensure you have a good quality video presentation. Step 1. If possible, use a high definition camera and an external microphone to record the video. In this day and age, these cameras are neither hard to come by nor expensive. The camera will provide you a quality picture and the microphone will do the same for sound. Now, most cameras come with the mic already built in. An external microphone will give a higher quality sound that will contribute to a more clear and audible presentation. For a presentation where the subject will be stationary, recommended for most videos, as I am now, a lavalier mic would be your best bet. Now, I didn't have access to one for this presentation, but I'm sure you've seen it before. It's the little mic. It's really small, and it usually comes up the shirt, and they pin it right here on the collar. You'll see it at a lot of news interviews or talk shows. That's what we call a lavalier mic. It provides very good sound, and it's also discreet. The only thing I warn about is the rubbing of material. You will get that sound in the speaker if that rubbing does occur. So just look out for that. Besides the microphone, put the light behind the camera. Again, I recognize that you aren't working on a Hollywood production, but this is a very important rule to remember. The camera's like a mechanical eye. Alright? When bright light is shown into the human eye, it overshadows all other subjects in sight, making your subject a silhouette to the viewer. Keeping the light behind the camera illuminates your subject and provides a stronger visual. The third, steady the camera. If possible, use a tripod or level surface to place the camera when you're recording. For myself, I'm using my MacBook Pro. So it's stationary, it's on a desk, and the camera's not moving, so you don't have the shakiness of the hand or the occasional shift when the cameraman tripped or his hand got weak. This keeps a continuity in the quality of your video that'll keep your viewer interested, and they won't feel discredited by what you're watching because of the shakiness. It'll look amateur, but they won't get the impression that it's as amateur. And then my fourth and most important tip I can give you is to film in segments. This is so important. It's so helpful because it allows you to maintain the organization of your clips, even when you're working with just the footage. It's easier to use 5 clips brought into a video timeline as opposed to a 20-minute piece of footage in which you go through and try and stop at the perfect moment and hope that you start back at just the right moment. You can get fancy with it if you've got some experience. There are a couple of editing styles that are popular, especially for YouTube-based videos, but we'll go on to that at a later time. Now, it's time to go on to our next step. We're getting close to the end, so bear with me. This is it. We have reached the last phase in what it takes to create your own personal instructional video. Congratulate yourself. Alright, now we're talking about editing. It's a pretty tedious task, but if you did as I suggested and you recorded in segments and you planned it out prior, this should not be that complicated or tedious for you to complete. Now, remember, we're just trying to put together a clean, organized presentation using video as a medium. So the editing will be simple. Depending on what kind of computer you use, the software will differ as well. We're going to stick to the most computer user-friendly programs on both the Windows and Mac operating system. For Windows, I suggest using Windows Movie Maker. It's a very user-friendly program that after a few minutes of playing around, it'll be easy to learn. For Mac, we'll use iMovie. It's also a very user-friendly program, very simplified, and allows you to do some really cool things. Now, step 1 of editing any video, you have to transfer the footage. Now connect your camera or the SD card to the computer. You'll open My Computer or Finder for Mac and locate the storage device. I recommend that you transfer the footage to your computer in case you have to return to the project at a later date. This way, if the memory storage device is ever lost, the footage still exists on your hard drive. After you move the footage to your computer, open your editing program. Step 2 will involve you moving the footage from the folder on your computer into the actual program. So you're going to import the footage. Importing the footage from the camera or storage device is done by going to File, selecting the Import option, and then select the location of which your footage is located. Once that's done, it'll transfer over into the program and await your editing magic. 4, title slides. These will help you. Title slides we'll want to include because it gives the reader a visual to your visual, if that makes sense. Alright? Doing this also helps ensure that your viewer is following along with your presentation. For instance, if I had just thrown all these clips together without saying what stage we were in and what part we were talking about, it could get a little confusing. And you'd have to keep going back and trying to find the right spot. So I suggest you also give your title slides a good little breadth of time. Now the 5th step, you're going to finalize and export it. Alright? Once you've placed the clips where you want on your timeline and you've included all the necessary illustrations and title slides, you're ready to wrap it up. You'll select File and Export. Now, once you've gotten ready to export, you have to decide what medium do I want to use to show my presentation. Most programs, iMovie and Windows Maker, will have an option to automatically upload it to a few very popular video websites, i.e. YouTube, Vimeo, etc. If that option is not there, or that's not the path you want to take, you want to export it as its own individual file, which I might add Using the automatic upload option to those websites will also create the file and will save it to your computer. But if you want to do it yourself, by all means, you'll export it. Now you need to choose which format you want to export this film, the movie in. If you're using a Mac and you're using iMovie, you'll want to export it using QuickTime Conversion, because QuickTime plays on a lot of videos. It has very little trouble being played on different operating systems. If you are using Windows Movie Maker, you'll want to save it as a .mov file. Once that's done, you'll upload it to the appropriate website, and you've completed your video presentation. Or if you don't want to upload it and you want to keep it, you have the option to burn it to a disk, but always keep that file handy. Also, I suggest keeping the raw footage. You never know when you'll want to go back and fix something. So, I hope this presentation was helpful. If not, feel free to leave comments. It's always fun to grow. Good luck and happy filming.